Hi, it's Orit here, and today I want to talk to you about how working in a psychiatric hospital has taught me a lot about love and relationships. So, my time in the psychiatric hospital was intense. I was the director of a creative arts therapy department, so I overlooked all the creative therapy services for all the patients in the hospital. And I also provided dance therapy sessions for patients all in the hospital as well. And like most of the patients who come into the hospital are wanting to end their lives, or they've already tried, or they're really like they had a plan and someone caught them and they didn't go through with it and they got sent to the hospital instead. So when you're in an environment like that every day of the week, it's really intense. And working in a psychiatric hospital, and I'm sure being in one as a patient, really teaches you a lot about life. I witnessed, what it's like to be at your absolute lowest in your life. And that taught me a lot because I never felt immune to the idea that that could be me. Some of the people who came in had completely normal lives, and something very traumatic happened all of a sudden, and they ended up in the psych hospital. And that's something that could happen to any of us. And I mostly learned a lot about relationships because I ran groups, dance therapy groups for people, like around 10 people to almost 30 sometimes. And when you get a group of people who are suffering from severe depression, anxiety, addiction, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and generally feeling suicidal, it's not a very cheerful room, right? It's a very heavy energy. And I have always believed that the essence of being a human, the essence of living, is human connection. That is why we're here. And that was a huge part of what I did, because I knew that if that is what life is all about, then I had to help these people feel connected to each other, feel connected to something, and feel connected to themselves. And going in and doing dance therapy was a great way to do it. But it had to be strategic because, when you walk into a room of 20 people who are feeling really shitty about life, it's not exactly a place where you want to be like, hey, we're going to dance today, right? So this was all a very slow, organic warm up to connecting with each other, and honestly, including a lot of play because, it's much easier to be like, yeah, like we're all here. It's kind of awkward, right? It's kind of like, yeah, we pretty much got to the rope, the end of the rope, and it's much easier for 20 people to do that than be like, all right, let's have a really serious conversation about where you're at. That's really hard to open up to. So in a way, dance therapy was amazing, the way I got to have them playfully connect with each other. But the thing I learned the most is that there were people who were never ready to open up. No matter how many times I guided them, I led them in these sessions, they were sitting back, guarded, withdrawn, or also on the other side, attacking, always getting into fights, very defensive. And unfortunately, there were some of those people who I never saw change in. And then there were some of the people, a lot, who they started out looking that way too, like arms crossed and everything, but they opened up and they became vulnerable and they spoke up about what they were going through, as hard as it was. And those are the people who had these huge epiphanies at the end, who had hope for life again, who felt like, I belong. Yes, I really do. Like, I really do belong here. Things have been hard, but like, it's amazing to be connected with other people and to not feel alone and to really feel that love. Like, I know that sounds corny, but at the end of my best groups, we really really just felt love for each other, you know, like this deep empathy and compassion and love. And there were also people in between who started out really guarded, but over the years, they ended up open and expressive and speaking up and willing as well. And that taught me a lot about love because, you know, I'm sharing this story because if you stay in your head, if you stay in a fear, if in fear and survival mode, always trying to look out for your protection or attacking in order to protect yourself from getting hurt, or completely frozen and shut down, then you're never going to be able to give yourself a chance at love, because we have to open up and connect and be in this present moment in order to connect in relationships. And when we're so focused on our survival, all that, you know, all the higher functioning parts of our brains, that it shuts off, that social part, that human part. And we're just kind of essentially living in our reptilian brain and our animal selves, where all this subconscious nonverbal stuff from our trauma is stored. And that's where we act from. We act from fear. And that cannot coexist with love. I'm convinced. I saw this over all the years. And when you get out of your head, when you get to be in the present moment, when you start trusting that you can be safe around people, especially, like, it just hurt me to see that there were these people, you know, group after group, year after year, who were so hurt. And I don't just count their pain or their hurt, but like, if they were able to just be present in that moment, because I would have, you know, a group of 20, and there would be that maybe one person who's like, this is dumb, I'm not doing this, who wouldn't join, no matter how much we all kind of carefully encouraged them. I saw what they were missing out in. I was like, if they could just be present and open and willing to connect, they would have an experience of love and healthy relationship. But because they're so focused, you know, even just subconsciously also, it's like that subconscious reptilian brain is so strong, because that was taking over. They couldn't even have that chance to repair and understand that I can have an experience of good relationships, of love and connection. And so that's what we need. And I wanted to tell you this because if you're stuck in that trauma, in that brain that's only acting from a place of trauma, from a place of fear, then it's going to be really hard for you to reach your fullest potential of love. Even if you're in a relationship right now, it's not the same as when you can really open yourself up and bring those walls down and connect and be vulnerable and speak up, even if speaking up means disagreeing with your partner or with somebody else that you're in a relationship with. And so from the bottom of my heart, I want to tell you, do what you need to do. I know it's not easy, but do what you need to do to let your guard down. Do whatever it takes to resolve the trauma that's taking over your body. Because as much as you want to tell yourself, I'm going to be open, I'm going to speak up, I'm going to, I'm going to be more vulnerable, more trusting. If your nonverbal subconscious is only focusing, is only kind of feeling the trauma from the past, and it must act in fight, flight, or freeze, doesn't matter what you say to yourself. Your body's still going to react first. You can't logic your way out of it. So do whatever it takes to resolve that trauma from your past. Even if it's not obvious what trauma you had, it could be mild neglect. It could be that your feelings in your family were never a priority because you had siblings who needed much, much more attention. So even if it's not obvious to you and you're responding this way today, there's something going on. And do whatever it takes, please, to resolve this trauma. And if that means you need to find a safe space to do it, then find it. And if that means you have to, work a little harder to find that space, then do it, because no relationship is going to change the way that you've experienced this trauma. No relationship is going to fill the void of, the love that maybe you didn't get in the past. So we can reach a certain point, but no relationship, no partnership is going to feel as good as it would if we could truly open ourselves up to love, if we could truly be present and connected and open the floodgates to receive and give love. So if you are interested, I would love to help you out with this. As you can see, I'm so passionate about it. And honestly, a lot of people hesitate to talk to me because they think they're going to be too much. I'm not going to be able to handle their shit. I even have clients right now who say, I'm worried that this is too much, or that what I'm about to say is too much. And I want to tell you, you are not too much for me. Nothing you say is going to be too much for me. Honestly, the things that I experience, the people who I worked with in the psychiatric hospital, that was so intense. It honestly did come to a point of being too much, all kind of built up. The clients who I see now, the stuff that I do now is a walk in the park for me. And that's not to discount the hard work that you are going to do to resolve your past, to resolve the past relationships, abuse, the trauma. But I do want to say that you are not too much. Whatever you say is not too much. So let's have a chat and let's talk about what's been going on and where we can go with it. So I'm inviting you for a free 30-minute chat. We'll talk about what's going on in your relationships, and that's it. If we're a match, if we find that we are a match, then we can talk about working together. But until then, let's just have a heart-to-heart. So you can click on the link to the side or below or above, depending on where you're watching, and let's talk. Can't wait to meet with you. Bye.